Hello everyone, Phoenix61 here with more Skull and Bones. So I have been playing with my junk lately, right? My battle junk. Okay, anyway, so I'm going to show you the build here, but we're just going to demo it too. So we are in a defend mission right now, and these get pretty tough occasionally, especially towards the wave 4 and 5, right? It can send quite a few ships towards you at once. And the battle junk, depending on how you have it outfitted, right, is pretty good at taking out large number of ships, right? So even these guys are up to level 12, so they're not exactly easy, but not exactly really difficult. But when you get a lot of them thrown at you at once, right, it can get overwhelming occasionally. I think with some builds, I've struggled a little bit with those defends where there's just so many ships. And then here we are, we'll do some hostile takeovers as well, where I actually got put up against other real players in sort of PvP situation-ish, right? So here is someone else using a battle junk as well. And we just sort of outmaneuvered, outflanked, and outgunned them a little bit, right? And part of this may be some of the build. I wouldn't say I'm like the best player, right? So there's definitely people out there that have beaten me, right? But killing another player in a hostile takeover can be really huge, right? Gives you a huge advantage at winning that takeover. So here we are up against a sandbook, and you know how everyone hates the sandbooks, right? So this is a fire build. The battle junk is a really great ship for taking out the sandbook, especially in close quarters. This is really key to this ship, whether you're playing with it or against it, right? So we took out that sandbook crazy fast there, and he ends up coming back for more. But if you notice the location of this takeover, it is one with pretty cramped quarters, right? There's not a lot of open ocean. You know, as I was playing as my sloop build before, right, my small explosive ship, and I was all braggy about it, right? Somebody finally did take me down in a hostile takeover, and it was it might have been this location, but it was one similar where it was very close quarters, and that's the key to the battle junk, right? So when you're getting hits on enemies and they're close to you, that's what's triggering the taunted status effect, and then that person's doing way less damage, right? So this guy's already taunted again from the hits that I've gotten on him, and so he's just not able to get damage dealt to us in the manner that he's expecting to do, right? He's running the fire build, right? He's got fire bombards, and I think he's running rockets for his aux weapon, right? And yep, there's comes rockets, right? So he's just laying the fire on us. I did use some restoration kits here and there to take away the status effects from him. As you can see, I tried to use another one there, but it was still on cooldown. But he's just, because he's taunted, he's just not able to get the damage dealt against us. Plus we're rocking a tank style ship, right? And I've also built into that even more with the furniture, so I'll show you all of that a little bit later in the video here, exactly what I have equipped, exactly what weapons I'm using. But for the most part, I'm using fire shotguns in the front, so Zamas, and then I'm using the electric long guns that you get from the current season Smuggler Pass, right, for season 3. So I'm really enjoying these. You do get 4 top deck weapons on the sides, right? So I think it's a good ship for using top deck weapons such as long guns or bombards, right? I went with these long guns. I originally was just using them just to try them out, and I'm thoroughly enjoying them. So here we are up against a sloop this time, right? So this is the build that I did recently. I don't think he's got it outfitted exactly how I had it, but we're able to take him out, and his mistake here, he should be able to beat us, right? He should be able to beat us. There's plenty of open ocean in this takeover, but he stayed too close to us, and I think he just doesn't realize that that's his mistake. So since we're able to get taunt charges on him, he was not able to do a lot of damage to us. And that's the key to this ship. When you're playing with this ship or when you're playing against this ship, right? If you're playing with this ship and you're going up against somebody who could potentially outgun you, you want to get close to them as you're doing damage to them, so that way you trigger the taunt effect against them, and then they can't do as much damage to you. And then when it gets compounded, because you're in a tank build that has a lot of health to start with, right? And so it's just brutal. And then here comes another level 13 battle junk as well, right? So we know how to deal with him, right? When you're going junk against junk, you know, it's a dance with death, whether you want to try a close quarters battle or a long range battle. He is using the new mortar as well that triggers taunt, right? So that might be a decent way to go, right? Because then if somebody is staying out of your range, you could potentially hit them with the mortar and then, you know, trigger the taunt effect on them with that too. I mean, I'm using the Warhammer for like the shorter range rockets. I feel like they work really, really great, and I'm trying to stay close to enemies anyway, so that's working out for us quite well. And if you didn't know this, so you can see as he is looking at us, you can see the little like red scopy light thing, right? So that's how you know a player is looking at you, and they're aiming down their sights at you, and that's a good time to brace, right? So just another like strategy to keep in mind, but that is what that means, right? That means that person's probably about to fire their guns at you. You can see it here, right, in this in the guy in the sloop here. And so then he launched rockets at us. Now he launched bombards. It does look like he's using Dardanelles guns, right, which is a really, really good choice for that ship, for the sloop. But I would choose the 1,000-year monsoons, the newer ones that are available at the black market. I would choose those now over the Dardanelles guns, but you may only have the other ones, right? You got to get sovereigns to be able to buy the 1,000-year monsoons. But we've already taken him down once, so he's got some severe damage that's not repairing. I think that's going to be part of the key when using 1,000-year monsoons too, right? Like, you got to have a way to repair that severe damage. If you don't have a way to repair severe damage and you're doing hostile takeovers and you get sunk, I'd be very, very impressed if you came back from that and won the hostile takeover. But yeah, it was kind of nice that somebody else had joined this one too, because then we got to demo the battle junk a little bit more, right? So we went battle junk on battle junk on sloop, which was my newer build too, which I don't know which one I like better now, right? I don't know if I like my sloop build or if I like this battle junk build better. I think they both serve a little bit of purpose, right? But that's the key. So I was assuming he was going to fire at us, and then he didn't. So I think he might have been scoping the other guy. I don't know, but I hit the brace there thinking he would send a volley of something at us, and then he didn't. And then we're going to get, yeah, so now you can see he's looking at us, right? You can see the scope, the little light there right in the middle of his ship. That's how you know he's looking at you. And so that's why I'm bracing here, right? I'm expecting bullets to be coming our way. Right, and he did fire at us. It looks like he's also using the electric long guns as well. And then we do get the takeover for finishing him off, right? So takeover successful. So we will go into the build. We are hanging out here by my girlfriend. If you guys know, me and her have a good relationship going, right? She didn't puke on me this time, though. I was pretty impressed. You know, it was good times, good times. She's a little drowsy still, but it's cool. It's cool. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. Make sure you guys are following the channel, and like I said, if you haven't seen my other recent build videos, right, the sloop is a really good one to do as well. That's the ship we see here. But I will go into our battle junk build. For some reason, when I started recording this, I was actually using my sloop build for something different, right? So over on the right, you can see the perks, right? So we have this all the way up to the upgrade level 6 of 6, for at least for season 3, right? Who knows if they'll add more to that at some point. But provoke is its sort of main perk. Weapon hits within 200-meter range. That's what I was talking about. So close quarters. Apply taunted charges. Applying taunted with this ship makes target vulnerable to 50% increased weak point damage from all sources. Increases brace strength by 150% and brace strength recovery by 25%. So this is not only you can take a lot of damage type of ship, but like, you get this brace strength and can deal a lot of damage too, so it's pretty brutal. And the Endure is the new perk that comes with the 6th level of upgrade. Receive 2% less damage per attack, and then also applies taunting charges when you brace hits, right? So here's the overview of just what I'm using: Zamzama's Divine Thunder and the Warhammer. I am using the Phoenix Crest. That is a new armor piece that just became available through the storyline for Season 3, so I recommend that one. And then there's the furniture load up, but we'll go through each one and kind of describe why I'm putting them on there, right? So Zamzam is in the front, and the reason for this is if you see the gun ports number there is 4, right? So you get 2 below decks weapon slots on this plus the 2 top decks. So you're firing 4 cannons, whereas if you put like bombards or long guns in the front, you'd only have 2 weapons, right? So you can make the same argument for the broadsides, but we're using the long guns, right? I think if this would be the one thing that I would change is going to be coming up is the Zamzamas in the front, because there is a new demi cannon coming out that's not quite yet available in the season, and it's called the Phoenix Talons. So these are going to be available later in the story for Season 3. So if you've reached that point, if time has approached, right, I would recommend these over the Zamzamas, even though I haven't even had a chance to use them yet. And it's just because of this extra fire damage that they can do, and then deals 200% as much damage on a target with the Ablaze status effect, right? So those are going to be the new Zamzamas of Season 3, I have a feeling. Now the damage number there is, the base damage is 1,374. Zamzamas are slightly better than that at 1,549, and they have a slightly better reload as well. The one thing I don't like about these is they have the Raider perk, which increases charge rate of the vulnerable by 50%. That's so you can do the like crew attacks, right? So that makes crew attacks become available faster. I don't use a lot of crew attacks, and I don't really have any crew attack builds. So that's why I think I'm gonna like the Phoenix Talons better, because it has provoking, which increases taunt buildup as well. Plus it has that extra burning damage perk, right? So I think I'm gonna like those better than Zamzamas when they come out. We'll have to see. We will definitely test them out and do a video on it. And then yes, I'm using Divine Thunder the rest of the way around the ship, even in the back. This ship does not have any below deck weapon ports on the back, so we are using these, right? So you get 4 on each side and 2 in the back since they are top deck weapons. Their perk is, you know, hits to target's weak points have 35% chance to summon the lightning strike that deals 3,000 damage. That's a little bit better than the electric strike that Kevin's mandates do, right? Those are the regular culverins that are recently available too. I like the long guns better, but you know, you do you. And then the Warhammer for the Aux weapon. This is sort of the short range, heavier hitting rocket launcher, and I like this better because you're typically trying to battle people within short range anyway. And then these rockets, one thing I never really liked about rockets is kind of how particular you have to be when you're aiming them. These aren't as bad because they do a lot of area effect damage as well. And then they also create fire, right? So between the Zamzamas and this, we're creating fire, and then the electric long guns the rest of the way around, we're creating electric damage against people. So yeah, we're doubling up on different types of, you know, damage over time effects, right? And then the Phoenix Crest also has a perk similar to the ship, where every hit received while bracing will build up taunted status effects on an attacking enemy. So I'm hoping that that compounds, right? I'm hoping that's doubling up for us. It's always hard to tell if those perks are like just canceling out or doubling up. So I'm hoping that this is creating more taunt. And then Gloat also increased Brace Strength Recovery by 100% for each enemy with the taunted status effect against us, right? So this just, that plays into the play style for this ship that you have to kind of do in order to get the most out of it. So I'm building into that. I think the one thing that maybe doesn't make sense is the long guns, right? Because you typically don't want to fight at range, but they've been working so good for me, and getting critical hit points, you know, critical hits on those has just been great. Yeah. And then the Phoenix Crest does also look like, that armor piece does look like it's the one with like sort of the most base armor amount, right? I think it comes with 12,040 or 1,240 versus like Black Prince was like 1,200, right? So I am using Rigging Station. I think War Drums might be a good choice as well. And I was actually curious if I switched to War Drums if my Phoenix Crest would show more armor level, but it still shows 1,413, you know, yeah, 1,413. And then I equipped the Rigging Station back on and took a look, and it's still the same amount, right? But I know with my furniture pieces that have like a % increase for hull and armor, that is going up, right? So the base of the Phoenix Crest it's 1,240, right? So it's up to that 1,400 range because of the furniture that I have on here, okay? I think Munitions Mixer would also be a good choice for this build because you increase the duration of Flooded and Blaze effects. And those are the two that we're going for with this build. Or no, actually, we're not going for Flooded, sorry, Electric, right? So, you know, you could use this, but I'm so addicted to Rigging Station because it has saved me a few times here and there, right, when we get low on health, and it gives you that heal. But yes, Divine Thunder. Also, you know, like this some of these weapons played into, like, you know, if you had this furniture piece on, it would, you know, or if the ship was ablaze, it would create the electrified status effect would build up quicker, right? So I was like kind of toggling between them to see like what the perks were there. But Charge Stores, this one is huge. This is from the Smuggler's Pass for Season 3, I believe. If not, check the Codex. But after triggering Stormstruck, increase next damage attack by 50%, and then increase charge rate of Ablaze by 10% on targets already afflicted by the Stormstruck status effect, right? So that's kind of why I chose that. That's the furniture piece I was thinking of. That's why I chose Ablaze and Electrified, right? And then Beam supports, these are just increase in hull. Those are coming from boss drops, the new season boss drops. Amber Coating Station, increased charge rate of Stormstruck status effect. That is awesome as well. Companion Screens. This is basically a whole bunch of fire resistance along with some more health. These come from the boss fights for the Hubach twins, right? So the Season 2 bosses. Or you can always check, you know, the Black Market and William Blackwood's, you know, cycling weekly stock or whatever, right? And then Spirit Slacker. This one I'm on the fence about whether I'll keep or not. I might find something better. But basically the last two perks is what I'm going for there. The increased brace strength and increased armor rating of equipped armor by 7%. So that is the build in a nutshell. We'll go into some other fights here towards the end just because this ship is very, very versatile, right? So there is the new giant dragon fight, right? So we are fighting the Elder Beast here, and this build works very, very well for this. I think long guns have been kind of the way to go. I fought him with some bombards a few times, and it works. Just I feel like it just doesn't, at least for me, right? It didn't work quite as good. But the long guns are just, they're so much easier to aim. He's really fast moving. He's flying. A lot of times he's far away, right? So like long guns just thus far since I've been playing and fighting it have been working really, really well. I do think it's made a little bit easier, right? Yeah, we're shooting him in the face there and getting almost 10,000 in damage against him, right? So he goes down pretty quick there. Granted, we did start about, what, halfway through the fight already, so. And then I'll go in and I got some La Peste action up here too as well. It worked pretty good against him. I do think that, you know, if you're fighting La Peste frequently, I would definitely change up the armor piece and use the Wailing Ward armor, right? There is that armor piece out there that has the resistance to his toxic attacks. And honestly, if you're not using that armor piece, I mean, I'm sure you all have experienced, right? If you go into any of his toxic attacks, right, his poison or whatever you want to call it, you go down pretty quick, right? Like, they're very, very brutal attacks if you don't have that Wailing Ward armor piece on. But other than that, like, this build's working out really, really great for him. I don't have the, like, La Peste schematics or whatever on to see the weak points, which it's helpful, but it's not that big of a deal. But with this build and the way you want to get, you know, the way you want to hit weak points on ships, you know, that might not be a bad idea because then you get that extra 10% weak point damage. So I mean, maybe that's the way to go, right? Like I said, I might tweak some of the armor pieces as I play it more. But yeah, the Zam Zam is in the front to trigger fire, to help trigger fire. Long guns with electric all the way around the outside, helping trigger electric. And then, you know, several perks on the ship, including the armor piece, were triggering taunt on him as well. So this made the La Peste fight quite a bit easier as well. Like I said, if you're like trying to grind for like La Peste items or something, then I would probably, the only thing I'd probably change is maybe put on the La Peste schematics furniture piece and then for sure put on the Wailing Ward armor piece for getting, you know, making sure you don't hit those, you don't take as much damage from those poison attacks, right? You can obviously beat them, right? It's really important to avoid them if you're not wearing that armor piece. But thank you guys so very much for watching my video all the way through. If you like my Skull and Bones content, leave a like, and make sure you're following the channel. Make sure you do please subscribe. I really appreciate it. We'll see you next time.